Hello friends, this is Wigs and Fluff with Barbara. Now today I want to talk to you about daily wig wear. This is my wig closet. This is what I have to wear every single day. The one I have on today is the Frenchie by Tony of Beverly Hills. Now this is a high-flying wig. You can get your fingers in it and you can really make it go high. You can make it elegant for evening, or you can tone it down and make it so that it's good for every day. So I'm just kind of toning it down here a little bit, and you can see that it would be great just for going around every day, even just like that. It looks fine. It looks great. So I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that they tell you that you need to do, like these. These are little hair nets. Now, this is your wig and your wig closet, so it's up to you what you do. I don't wear these. They give me a headache. It's too tight on my head. So what I do instead is I take my little straggly pieces that I have left of my bio hair, which are about shoulder length. I keep it shoulder length, and I round them up into like a little bun and secure them with bobby pins. And that's real important because it gives me an anchor for this wig. And that's probably the reason why I don't have any trouble with the wig flying off my head. My wigs stay place. I've got an anchor back there. But you know, some of you may have short hair or shaved your head bald. It's up to you what you want to do. I've chosen not to do that, to keep as many of my little straggly ends as I can, shoulder length, so I can make it an anchor. So that's what I do anyways. Now, the next thing is the hairband. They want you to get one of these hairbands. Well, the same thing. It gives me a headache. It's too tight on my head. So I don't use those. I just use my little anchor, and I've never had a problem with my hair flying off. And it feels like my own hair. It feels like my own hair. Another thing is the wig form. You're going to need wig forms. Keeping your hair in bags and boxes may not be the best thing. If you can get a wig form for each of your wigs, that would be best, because it helps them keep their shape and it keeps them from getting all mushed up in the box. So that's why they tell you when your hair comes, your new wig comes in a box, to shake it out really well, because it's been crimped into there. But if you put it on this wig form, then it's going to stay in place, and you can actually comb the hair on the wig form and help it even more. So another thing I do is I take a wig, like this is the Voltage from Raquel Welch. Now, you can see that this Voltage has very little lace. You can see that? Very little lace. So what I do is I usually will take the Voltage or some other wig like this that has very little lace to the beach. And while I'm sitting there at the pool or sitting there on the beach or down at my lake, what I do is I slip it into my beach bag. Once I'm done swimming around, which I like to do in my lake, swimming around with my bio hair, I towel dry it and I slip on the Voltage or another one. Now this one here has quite a bit of lace, so I probably wouldn't choose that. But the Fascination, which is another one of my wigs, look at that. It has a small amount of lace there. The rest is all open weave, and that's what you're looking for. So the Fascination would be a very good candidate for taking with you to the beach. So anyways, those are my thoughts on what to do for daily wig wearing. Another thing I would not do is use glue or tape, because that just breaks down the hair that you have. Even if your head is shaved, that glue does not come off your bio hair or your forehead. You have to get into the shower and wash your head again every day when you use glue. I would not recommend glue or tape. It just doesn't work, and it breaks down the fibers of the wig. So that's my advice on that. Now today, I do have a story for you today. I do have a story. This is the story of Esther. Esther was a queen, actually. She became queen. There was a king that decided one day, he got drunk and decided one day that he wanted his queen, not Esther, but a different queen, the queen before Esther, Vesti was her name, to dance before him, doing the hoochie coochie. He was drunk. He was showing off for his friends. Vesti was beautiful, and he wanted her to go and do this dance. Well, she wasn't having any part of it. She told him to go back to his drunken friends, and she wouldn't do it. Well, he banished her from the land. Banished her. So the king was without a wife. The king was without a queen. So he started to talk to his friends, and they decided to do a contest, sort of a Bible Times beauty contest. And they brought all of the most beautiful women in the land to the king. And our friend Esther was one of them. Now, Esther was a beautiful woman. She had so much natural beauty going for her. She was gorgeous. And she was an orphan. She had been raised by her uncle Mordecai from when she was little. And she dearly loved Mordecai and looked on him as her dad. So Mordecai worked in the courts. And so he kind of had his ear to the ground, and he knew what was coming. And he knew that there was a man in the courts named Haman who was plotting to kill all the Jews in the land, wipe them all out. So Mordecai talked to Esther and said, Esther, I know you don't want to do this. I know the king is not your cup of tea, but the people of Israel need you. Now, who knows? You could be called for such a time as this. And so she agreed, and she went and joined the beauty contest. She didn't have a lot of beautiful clothes. She just put on her prettiest bluest satin dress, and she went before the king, and she was chosen as one of the finalists. Well, the day of the big ceremony came, and Esther was chosen as queen. She made it. She was crowned queen. And the king just loved her. He loved Esther. And whatever she wanted, he would give it to her because he loved her that much. So Mordecai was in the course, and he heard what Haman was going to be doing. Sorry, allergies. So what he did was he went to Esther and said, look, Esther, you're now in this position. So it's important for you to use your position and go to the king and tell him what Haman is planning on doing, and letting him know that that would mean you too. They would be killing all the Jews, including you, Esther. So Esther had to screw up her courage, because just for a woman to walk into the throne room could mean that they would cut off her head, queen or not. She had to screw up as much courage as she could find to do that. So very timidly, very calmly, she walked and stood in the very back of the palace in the throne room. And she had her eyes down, and she waited and waited. And the king saw her back there, and he just loved her. And he said, my queen, what is it that you need? And she said, well, I came here to ask you to come to my house for dinner, you and your friend Haman. And the king was overjoyed. And he said, well, who's cooking? And she said, I am. I'm going to cook you a meal. And so the king was just excited and overjoyed. And so he and Haman went to Esther's house for dinner that night. And she made them the dinner, and they were all pleased. But she was too timid to say anything to them at first. So The evening was over and Haman left. Next day, she did the same thing. She came forward with her eyes down very timidly. And the king looked at her back there and said, "My queen, what is it that you need?" And she said, "My king, I came to ask you to come to dinner again. I would like for you and Haman to come to dinner again." And so the king was overjoyed. He said, "Well, last night was a lot of fun. The meal was delicious. Yes, absolutely. I would love for you to cook for us again." So they came to Esther's home. This time, Esther knew she had to do something. So while they were eating, Esther said to the king, "King, there's someone in the land that's plotting against all the Jews. And there's something I have to tell you, my king. That means me too, because I am a Jew. And if they kill all the Jews in the land, it means killing your queen." Well, the king was not having any of that. He was outraged. He was furious. And he said, "Who is this traitor?" And she pointed right to Haman. And she said, "It's him. It's Haman. He's the one that's plotting to destroy all the Jews." And so what happened was the king commanded that Haman be hung on the gallows that he had set up for Mordecai, Esther's uncle. And Haman was killed and destroyed, and all the Jews in Israel were saved. And that is the story of Queen Esther. I hope you enjoyed that story, and I hope you would be with me again tomorrow. Bye.